our target market was becoming elevated. It was becoming a higher target market that we were going after and leads that we were attracting.
That was as our clients were getting greater and greater results, right? So we went from like, oh, you can hit 3K months to then like our clients are hitting 10K months. And that obviously is a huge evolution in your target audience from someone who's looking to make 3K versus 10K and scale beyond that.
This is the After Brief, except instead of boring bullet points and corporate jargon, you're getting the real stories, strategies, and insider tips that make real businesses grow. We're taking the stuff most people keep off the record and turning the mic on. Welcome back to another episode of the Lucky Girl Social Podcast. Today, I am so excited to be joined by the one and only Jess Catalano of Disregard Studio and our creative director, social media manager, web designer at Lucky Girl Social, behind the brand that you guys all love.
Yay.
So, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yes, I'm so excited to get into today's topic. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about growing fast and rebranding slow. And our journey, which started as your journey with the Lucy Vincent and then all the way through the Lucky Girl Social and what that has looked like for us behind the scenes.
Yeah, they are. She is testing my memory today. Yeah. I am excited though, because there has been such an evolution and just massive growth, but really constant evolution, which is one thing constant in life is change, right? So your brand does need to grow with you, but there were a lot of mistakes that I've made along the way and just incongruencies and things that could have been done better. So I'm excited to open up the hood.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's funny because I think you've always thought that I was a type A person. But I'm only type A in comparison to you, my friend. Because I'm actually pretty type B. But one thing I am type A about, obviously as a brand designer, is having consistency in all client touch points with a brand, because trust is built in the details, right? One thing that I have always respected about you, and whenever I think of Lucy, I'm like, I just love this so much about her, what is your slogan? Share it with the class.
Massive imperfect action.
Massive imperfect action. And I love that. It's something as a perfectionist that holds me back, and it has held me back a lot. And so I always think, okay, look at how far you've gotten because you have taken such massive imperfect action. And, you know, it helps me like, okay, just get out of your head and just do. Things don't always have to be perfect, but also there is a point where imperfections start eroding trust with your ideal client and your target audience. And it's something that I got to see firsthand when I was working sales for the Lucy Vincent, which I don't even know if at that point you were seeing it because you were working on more CEO level stuff, but we started seeing it in the trenches of sales. Do you remember like taking notice
about it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we want to start with this?
I don't know.
I'm curious for the Lucy Vincent. Tell us a little bit about the difference between LVS, TLV, and your timeline for starting those things. And then we'll get into the timeline for the Lucy Vincent.
Yeah. So I launched LVS Digital. That was my marketing agency back in 2017, like October, November time. And I did full-time for 3 years, and I learned the hard way. I started out charging $500 a client, not having boundaries, not knowing where to find clients, and all of the support, the mentorship in the industry was hyper masculine. And I was like, I just don't relate to any of that. I feel like that's not the way that I want to do it. So I really created my own path, I would say. And I scraped myself and bruised myself so many times. I made so many mistakes. I really truly learned the hard way with growing from a freelancer into an agency owner. And once I finally was like, hey, I've got this now. I know how to land high ticket clients consistently. I know how to service them. I know how to work with them. Like, I've got this. I would pop into Facebook groups and see women just cannibalizing the marketplace and people saying, hey, I'm looking for a social media manager or an agency or whatever. And people would be like, I do that for $500 a month. No, I do that for $250. No, I do that for $175. And I just knew, you know, everybody is typically after when they're creating their own business is freedom. And I had underpriced myself often. And as a service-based provider, you're capped by the amount of time that you have in a day or a week. And so when you're undercharging so severely, you're not creating this life of freedom that you desire. You're actually creating a jail cell where you start to feel guilty going out to dinner with friends, or not working on the weekends, actually having your weekends off, going on vacation. People are like, forget about it. I haven't gone on a vacation in 3 years. And when we look at like, why did we start this and how far away we've gotten from it, it makes you question, like, maybe a 9 to 5 is better for me. Working for somebody else is better for me. And ultimately I was like, no, I want to help women avoid that. So in May of 2020,
I think it was 2020.
Yeah. Bad with timelines. Okay. But May of 2020, I launched. I was like, I know how to help them. I've been through it. I can do this. So I launched, and I started with a Facebook group. Some of you guys might be in our Facebook group. If you're not, you should be. It's an awesome little community. But I started with that, and people were just like, yes, I want this. I need this. And it started to take off pretty quickly, which was so exciting. So I started to sort of scramble. I was running agency and I was launching coaching at the same time. And I realized at that point, I basically brought my team over from agency to start supporting with coaching. And it just wasn't, it was kind of like trying to chase two squirrels at one point, where the agency wasn't set up enough for me to take my foot off the gas there and focus so fully on coaching. And so, you know, the coaching was so fulfilling, and I was seeing women change their lives every single day. And I was like, oh my God, I love this so much more. Like, this is what gets me up out of bed in the morning. And so then I started to hire a specific team for TLV a few months later, like October, I think I told you was my first hire. And that was for sales, because the model I was doing was like through challenges and launching. And so, yeah.
Amazing. I love this. That sounds chaotic and crazy, but typical Lucy in the best way. When you started coaching and you launched TLV officially, did you launch with branding, or did you just raw dog it?
You know what? Thinking about it, I believe I told you no previous, but now thinking about it, I had a brander on my team through the agency, and she was doing all our social content for our clients and branding and stuff like that. So I don't think initially when I was still like testing the water, like, hey, is this actually, am I going to do this? Is this going to work? I thought nobody would ever hire me as a coach. Like, I thought coaching was like,
silly Lucy, look at you now.
I know. I thought coaching was like, who would do, like, no way. Like, you can't make money doing that. So I was just kind of like, let's just test this out. So I think after, you know, we had some really successful launches, I was like, okay, our brand designer in the agency, like, create us a brand. But
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Was that the pink brand? It was when you did like the pink and yellowish, like mustardy. Okay. Cute. I remember that.
She goes, cute.
Cute.
She's like throwing up.
Look, if pink is your jam, love it. Great. Every social media manager that sends me a Pinterest board, I'm like, y'all can't all love pink and yellows and like beiges like this. What do you actually like? Because you can like different colors. I promise you. That's so funny. No, love that. Okay. So when I came on originally for sales. A lot of people I don't think know that.
Nobody knows that.
So I came on, I started as a closer.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. Did it. Per usual. Came on as a closer. This was at actually a point in my business where I just like had lost vision and I wasn't feeling excited. And I was like, I just need to be around people. I need somebody to like, I don't know, invigorate something in me again. And we had been connected through Instagram, and you were hiring for a closer. And we all joke on the team, because I'm the only one that didn't have to go through an interviewing process.
It's like done.
Lucy has since tightened up her interviewing process, but at the time she was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to have you come on in. So I was not professionally trained in sales, but I had obviously always done my own sales. And I remember you throwing me on the first call for Agency Accelerator at the time. And I was like, what am I selling? And what? Okay, we got this. And I closed the first person that I ever got on a call with. I don't know if you know this.
I feel like that's such a good.
The first person. So funny. Anyways, obviously had been a brand designer. So I'm working in sales. And then I was originally like, oh, I would love to get my hands on this. But I'm just going to focus on sales, and then we'll see how that evolves. I think right before I'd come on that you had kind of a rebrand, or you were in the middle of it, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think I told you it took like a year.
Yeah.
It was a while.
Was that just like a crazy experience with the designer? Okay. We won't get into that.
Yeah.
But it was, I remember it being a very long and drawn out process, and it started showing in the way that we were showing up. So like on social, we looked really different than the website, and the website looked really different than like click-throughs for applications or different like resources or things like that. And I remember taking notes and being like, oh my God, I want to help, but I knew it wasn't my role. So I was just kind of stepping back. And you were so focused on, obviously, like, I mean, you grew so fast in the coaching business. It was insane. You had so much growth. And then I came on. And then when I came on, we still had so much growth. It was just so much upward momentum that I feel like at that point, it's really hard to keep up with all of these little things. And so eventually, I remember on sales, we started getting like resistance. And I think it was maybe 6 months to a year of me being on the team. There started being like consistency in what people were saying on sales calls. So they would mention things like typos on the website or broken links or little things that was interesting for somebody to bring up. Because I would never get on a sales call and be like, hey, you had a typo on your application, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever. But it was obviously enough of a disconnect for people. I almost felt like they wanted to trust the brand, but they had to see if they really could.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about social media marketers and agency owners. So those are things that they pay attention to. Those are things that they're going to value. And so they'll look at that and be like, what does that say about a brand if it's just disjointed?
Yeah.
Right?
I also think like there probably was somewhere like point where our target market was becoming elevated. It was becoming a higher target market that we were going after and leads that we were attracting. So they're way more into attention
100%.
to detail than somebody just getting started or that doesn't know it as much. And so I think as our brand was evolving somehow through marketing, maybe it was through paid ads or whatever.
Totally.
Then the rest of the pieces hadn't caught up.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
saying.
No. And that was as our clients were getting greater and greater results, right? So we went from like, oh, you can hit 3K months to then like our clients are hitting 10K months. And that obviously is a huge evolution in your target audience from someone who's looking to make 3K versus 10K and scale beyond that. So totally.
Yeah.
It was coming up so consistently that I was like, okay, we got to talk about this. I remember I brought it up to you and you're like, whatever you want to do, you got it. Like free reign. Like if you want to like fix things, I said, bet I will absolutely jump in. Thank you so much. And so I didn't, my focus, I remember, it wasn't like rebranding you or anything. I thought your branding was good. Funny, the first thing I changed was your color palette. Your all pink color palette. I was like, I know you're so girly and lovely and feminine, but can we like, and that was honestly part of the focus on color palette is I really think colors and typography are two of the most important identifiers in your branding. But for you, I was considering, okay, we're really starting to attract this higher level clientele. It's less of these stay-at-home moms that love this pink and girly and feminine. And it was the more elevated, somewhat editorial vibe. And so I was like, okay, there was like a hint of masculine too. We weren't teaching masculine energy at all. And we were really the complete opposite of that. But there's a masculinity to business and to showing up in your energy and setting boundaries and holding those boundaries. And so the first thing I attacked was your color palette. And and so we kept some pinks. And that's actually where we first got the dark olivey green that we now have in Lucky Girl Social. That was the one color that stayed. We were like, we got to keep it. And we did like, I think like some bright yellows and like pinkish reddish.
Yeah.
And then it was the fee of, you know, we have this kind of new vision, but oh my goodness, transferring that across all touch points, it is so much.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. Like when you had built so many resources
Oh
and,
my gosh.
you know, like there was just so
That's
many.
why I have like one link. Do you know how many links there are? The fact that I have one typo and one link broken, that is a miracle.
You're like, good job, Lucy. I'm doing great. No, seriously. And to anybody who has ever rebranded, you know the struggle. It legit takes a whole team just to have all of that transferred over. And like for so long, you had support in coaching and stuff, but this was all you. You were figuring it all out yourself. And so we slowly started the transition of leveling each part of the business up. And I think that we started with Instagram because that was like such a huge part of our lead flow. So what we were saying was, okay, Instagram is getting leveled up, but then there's still a disconnect from websites. So people were coming from Instagram over to website. And it was so funny because then when people would start commenting when we were in the process, I'd be like, oh girl, we got it. Trust me. Like it's happening. Thank you for letting us know. But it's funny how something like that we were legitimately seeing it be an obstacle to sales, where they would come in from Instagram and they get on our website and they'd be like, oh, like this just feels like a totally different brand.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that obviously we were in the know and it was just part of our growing pains, again, with you growing so fast. But I think that it's something that most social media managers and freelancers and agency owners really don't put a lot of thought or give credit to, is how a lack of consistency and cohesion with all of your client touch points can either catapult that trust or completely erode it. And so that's one thing that we focus on with Lucky Girl Social. And it's one thing that we were really trying to attack back at this point in the process for TLB. Is making sure that there's consistency in touch points. And that's from everything. The minute they come in from Instagram, what are the emails that they're receiving? Email banners, Facebook group banners, call links, all of it works together. You're like, your holistic marketing strategy really, really works together to ultimately drive sales for your business.
If you think about it, how many touch points it takes to make a sale, it's like 16, right? At this point, it might even be more now. So think about the journey, and what you're talking about is the customer journey, which is so freaking important. And I also want to add it. You have to look at the customer journey from before they're a client to while they're a client to when they're offboarding, like the whole thing. All of it. And I think for me, when I didn't have as much support, I was like, okay, now I'm focusing on the customer journey inside the program because that's the most important thing. And I always will live by that. But then things would fall apart like on this, like the pre-client journey. So I think, it's a lot of hats.
It's intense.
It's like you're feeling like you're playing whack-a-mole or something.
No, for real. It's hilarious. I love that. We need that to pop up on the screen, a visual. No, it's so true. And I think there was like a point there where I was like, damn. Yeah. Massive respect for you, Lucy, truly, with your massive imperfect action, because honestly, for someone like me, that would hold me back. Yeah. It would hold me back from serving clients that I actually can support because it doesn't look perfect. And so there is definitely a balance and a tension between that, between still showing up in your authentic self with what you have at the moment, but also always striving for better. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that's so cool. And I've loved seeing you be really supported in that over the years. Again, longest standing team member. No plug, just kidding. But it's been so fun to see you go from soloing it and figuring it out and just like this crazy, I'd literally look at you and be like, how do you keep all these things in your brain? Like, what is happening? But you always focus on client delivery. You were most concerned with who was in the program at the time, and seeing you be able to have different people step in and take on these different parts for you, where you've always had the spirit of excellence, but now you were actually able to have the support to feel fully supported in like following through on that level of excellence with all touch points of a brand. Not only has it been fun, obviously, to see you have that support, but also to see how it has just completely changed things for us in business and what our client journey looks like now, what our sales process looks like now, what objections look like versus what they looked like before. It's night and day. It's a complete 180.
Yeah, it's so insane. And I think just what happened today is such a testament to it.
Share with the class, please tell us.
Also, I'm so uncomfortable talking about me. I'm like, eyes are tearing. I'm like, I love all the other episodes. This one about me, I'm like, no, do less. But thank you. It needs to happen. Yeah. But today, we just launched a new funnel, which takes a lot of work. There's so many moving pieces. Is the opt-in working? How do we get that up? How do we change the visuals? Whatever. And then what about the video? Like, is the actual webinar good? Where are we losing people? But anyways, today we had our first person go all the way through the funnel, start to finish. So opted in, watched the video, applied to work with us, got on a call, and had a one-call close with our team member. And it was her first sales call. It was so good.
This literally just happened like 30 minutes ago. We were celebrating. It's so fun to see it pay off. I've been the biggest pain in your ass over the last few years. I'm literally the first one to be like, excuse me, can we get that color on brands? Or can we use our fonts on this? Can we customize? I'm always like,
but I need that.
Yeah.
I respect that and I need that.
Well, good.
For sure.
I'll always be here to do that. When you see the benefit, when you see that payoff in something like what just happened, it's like, wow, these things actually matter and they actually work. Yeah. So it's super fun and super exciting. Let's talk about the rebrand from TLV over to Lucky Girl, because most people probably know us from Lucky Girl. Previous to that, we were the Lucy Vincent. So we were operating under what you originally started coaching as. What prompted the rebrand for you?
I think just what we've been talking about. Finally, you started to see me have support that was outside of myself and people I could really lean on. And even looking at our CSS, they're so impactful in what we do. And everyone, the team just grew and it wasn't a personal brand anymore. And I was like, we're so much bigger than that. And ultimately, it didn't feel right to be like the Lucy Vincent and then be like, well, this is my whole team and everybody's like, it's like our brand. I was yelling at Emma earlier because she's like, well, Lucy's brand. I'm like, you always say that. It's our brand.
I love it.
But I really feel like that. And I feel like it's so much bigger than me. It grew to be bigger than me. And it's like I don't know. It was something in the back of my mind. And I actually went to a networking event and I was on the plane and I got Wi-Fi on the plane and I was like, Jess, we're launching a brand called Lucky Girl Social. Can you make it happen?
I have to pull up that. I remember receiving the message. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, how crazy is it to want to launch a brand within whatever, I don't know, 7 days, probably true Lucy Vincent style. And I was like, what is it, Lucy? Talk to me. And then, of course, I'm always the down girl. I was like, I'm down. Let's do it. What are we doing? And you were like, done. Let's start. I think you told me the name. And you were like, you can totally run with whatever you want this to look like. You gave me obviously some things like, this is the name that I want. This is the vision that I have. This is why I want to do it. Yeah. And you're like, have at it. Yes, thank you so much. Every designer's dream. And so I got to work. We actually just realized that we crossed our 1 year. Like 2 weeks ago, we missed our first birthday. Yikes. But it's been a little bit over a year now. Last summer, I was eating, sleeping, breathing this brand for weeks. It probably took me a whole month. Super, super late nights. But
I would get messages from you at like 4 a.m. And I'd be like, are you good, girl? What is happening?
I'm such a night owl. And that's really what my I remember the website. I was just like, getting it done. And then I'd be like, Lucy's going to kill me when she wakes up and sees that I sent these at 4 a.m. But I remember specifically, so it was July 4th. It was the holiday weekend. And I was like, I could care less about any celebrations. I was like, no, I'm focused on this brand and I wanted to get it up. And it was so fun because I think having been with you for so many years at that point, I knew you like the back of my hand. I knew your brand, your mission, your target audience, like your transformation. Also, I was in sales.
Yeah,
so I was the one signing so many people in and having a front row seat to all of it, like the objections, the trust, the lack of trust. It was like, I just felt like I had exactly what I needed to be able to deliver on a brand that not only was fully in line with the vision that you had, but would fully resonate with our ideal clients. And so it was so fun to see that come to life. So we worked on, I think we launched the brand and we actually launched it all, like brand, website, and all of the new offers at one time, which was such a labor of love and so fun to like finally get it out in the world. Did we? Yeah, we did the...
No, Jess is skipping over the story.
What?
Emma told me this was the only time you've ever been mad at me, which who knows if that's the case. But anyways.
I forgot about this. Oh shit, Emma.
True Lucy fashion.
What'd you do, Lucy? Tell them.
True Lucy fashion. I had a trip planned like the week before with my best friend to Iceland, the week before the brand launch. And she was like messaging and I was like, yeah, no, gonna do it. Gotta do it.
Like you were gone when we launched. It's not like you were just gone the week before. You were literally gone when we launched. And the thing is, Lucy, I am a very last minute person with things, but I can't be last minute and then you be last minute on the things that I need to be. Right. So I know, I remember I was like, I'm going to kill her. I'm actually going to kill her because the massive difference in time zone.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That was wild.
The difference in time zone. I was like, when am I going to get this? Oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to launch on time.
Poor planning on my part.
Yeah. We pulled it off. I love the accountability. We pulled it off and it was amazing. When we launched, we had already done the media. I think that's a really cool story. And I don't think we've ever talked about it, so I don't really know from your side, but you had booked a brand shoot. It was photo and video, and we all flew out to New York to do it. Did you have any ideas for creative direction for the shoot, or were you just kind of like...
Well, we had like the branding, right? And we'd done a shoot before, but no, I think I asked you for support with the creative direction, right?
Well, no, what's so funny is you didn't. Just like, right? So I was talking to the photographer and I was like, cool, like what's the vibe, whatever. And they were like, oh, well, we didn't do like a creative direction package. So we'll just like figure it out. We have an inspo board and whatever. And they're super talented and amazing at what they did. And it was the day before at the shoot. We're all in New York. And I was like, oh my God, okay, hold on. We need to make the most out of this. So I sat down, and it's funny because this is now what I do full time. I had never really done, I'd always done creative direction for myself, but I had never done it like fully. And so I'm just like scrambling 12 hours before our shoot. And I'm like, okay, what are some cool things that we can incorporate? How can we really make this stand out? Because obviously it's great to have photos of yourself and whatnot. And we were going for like the New York City vibe, which was really what you wanted. But I wanted to find ways to incorporate things that just felt a little bit more unique. And so I don't even know, honestly, don't know how the whole newspaper thing came up, but it was like midnight and it's some store in the city. I can't even think about it right now, but it's like a magazine store. And I hauled Emma out of bed and I was like, we got to go to this place. And so we went trekking over there. And I was just looking for anything that like felt inspiring. And there was a super fun editorial magazine with Dua Lipa. She had just done some really cool shoot. And there was a lot of green in the backgrounds and there was stars. And it was just this really fun editorial vibe. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like we can totally do something cool with that. And so I snagged that. And then I got like a newspaper also. And I was like, I feel like we can like write something really cool, really fun. Yeah. Again, my calligraphy skills coming into play. So clutch. And so I sat down, I grabbed some stuff and I was just sitting there and like Pinteresting and just like ideating a little bit and came up with some really cool concepts, leaning into like the whole luck situation. We went with green tickets, right? Like that was a really fun moment. And so at the shoot, we incorporated, and I'm sure you guys have like seen our photos and stuff, but I was able to do some live calligraphy for video on the magazine that we got. And then the newspaper, I feel like it's the staple of that brand shoot. And the video came out so cool, but we got, I think it was like the New York Times. And we wrote Lucky Girl Social on that. And it was just some Sharpie that I found. I think I was asking the front desk, like, you got a thick Sharpie that I can borrow? And we did that. And that it was so fun because it brought this element of personalization to the shoot that we really wouldn't have had, right? Yeah. Again, the production team was amazing and so talented. And we got incredible photos of our team. But I feel like it really allowed us to bring the messaging in a way that we wouldn't have had otherwise. But it was so fun to see it come together on shoot day where it was like, oh my gosh, we have such a fun direction for this.
I've always done Pinterest boards for shoots, but I think seeing how you actually take like a photo, you make it your own, obviously, but you're like posing like that, like that exact thing. I want that here. And I'm like, oh, you're
get
so
this energy
specific and intentional where I'm just like, this is the vibe.
Yeah. And
that's helpful.
And I feel like that's so normal in that because people have this expectation that you're photo and video team are supposed to be your creative directors, and they're not. They're there to show up and shoot, and their expertise, of course, is like lighting and angles and all of that fun stuff. That's its whole thing. But you're responsible for providing them with the vision. Yeah. They're just executing on it. Yeah. And so that's also where I just feel so passionate about creative direction, especially for personal brands, because I think creative direction often is reserved for bigger brands, bigger budgets, all these things. And I find it so important for personal brands to have a competitive edge and find that intersection between their unique magic and their secret sauce and what is going to resonate with their, target audience. And so really being able to bring that service down to the personal brand is, it's given us such like, it's the biggest compliment that we get on our brand is like, oh my gosh, your visuals, your brands get so amazing. Yeah. And that takes such intentionality and planning. And in our case, 12 hours lead time. I will say we put in a lot of work into the outfits. That was the one thing that I was like, you guys all have to send me
photos.
all of your photos. I have to approve.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was great. We did like a fun, like curated situation with her outfits, but yeah, it was so cool to see that all come together and see it be what it is now. The moment that you have a touch point with us, you trust us. And that's all of our media and our branding doing the heavy lifting there.
Yeah. And I feel like it's such alignment too, because obviously I don't even know if you remember this, but when you sent me that Instagram profile of the girl like that copied our branding completely, like completely,
oh my gosh, literally completely.
But I was like, whatever, like they're never going to be us. There's no way that anybody could be in as much alignment as we are with the messaging, with the branding, with all of this stuff. And like, even I see people using our like luck's not a strategy. And I'm like, that's ours.
Create your own luck. Yeah, no, 100%.
But I think, like I just know it's ours and I don't even care because like you can't copy it, what we created. Which
You'll
is
never
so
be the
cool.
embodiment of what the brand is. Like literally everything that we just talked about on this podcast, all of those things over so many years is what contributed to the brand that everybody sees today. And I mean, if you haven't lived that experience, you can't embody it.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. And I think like all to say is like evolution is so important for a brand. You know, and like you're going to constantly, just like we are as humans, like constantly reiterating who we are and adjusting and getting new hobbies and going to new places and having new experiences. Like evolution is constant. And so I just feel like every evolution has been such a level up. And so rather than dreading it, I'm like, all right, what's next?
What's next? I know we were just talking about our next one. So exciting. Not a rebrand, but our next iteration of Lucky Girl. But no, it's so true. If your brand isn't evolving, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because you should constantly be evolving. And that is the definition of having a competitive edge in the space, is evolving with the space, with yourself, with your offers, with your clientele, with all of it as it evolves. That's one thing that's so special about branding, is you get to control it and you get to be whoever you want to be with it. Yeah. It's really fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything we didn't touch on?
Y'all, like, pay attention to your branding and your online presence, and most importantly, the client journey, because it matters. And you know, trust really is made or broken in those details.
Yeah. And I think like, especially like there is, you know, a lot of people talk about this trust recession. And so like, if there are people that
Never us, baby.
Never us. No, but people say it all the time. Like there's a trust recession. People aren't trusting other people as much anymore. And like, okay, that's sad to look at it as a whole. What does that mean? But if you know that going into it, you really have to like look at all the touch points. And I would say, as far as like, yes, of course, on your marketing, into your sales, into your client delivery, into your offboarding experience. Because I can't tell you, even at the end, the offboarding, I've seen so many people be like, well, screw them. They want to offboard. I'm like, no, give them a great offboarding experience because they'll come back. The grass is not greener and they're going to learn.
At the very least, get a testimonial from it.
Yeah.
And either you don't offboard or you have a poor offboarding experience. Nobody's going to want to give you a great testimonial.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much. I love today's episode. And longest standing member of the team forever.
We're never changing.
Love it. All right. Thank you guys. See you later. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. That's a wrap on today's After Brief. Remember, the luckiest CEOs aren't born, they're built. Now, go make your move, share this with a friend who's ready to win, and I can't wait to see you next time.